Hey everybody, I know a lot of you are just starting off fly tying, so today I'm going to show you how to tie a super simple streamer. It kind of looks like a Delia's squid that they use out in the Pacific Northwest for sea-run cutthroat trout, but it doesn't take a lot of materials, it doesn't take a lot of time, and it catches fish. Plus you can customize it to whatever is in your area, so if you have bigger fish, smaller fish, darker bait. I like to use white because it just catches, but yeah, I'll put a materials list at the end, and let's get after her. Okay, to start this fly off, we're gonna begin with a streamer hook. Whatever you got, these are Komodo's 3x long, 1x strong, size 6. And we're gonna put on, first off, a cone head. These are copper. Use whatever color works for your waters again, but I find that white it just works everywhere. I've caught catfish on white streamers before. It's just wild. All right, get her in the vise there. We're going to use some wire to add some weight and to keep that cone head from scooting back. I like to go about 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm going to go back because these have super wide eyes on them. You probably won't have to. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Pinch that off. Fold your tag ends down. Fold them. Push them up and fold them. Okay, and then we're just going to jam this puppy right up in there. Right there. That'll keep that cone head from scooting back. Next up, we're going to start our thread. I'm using Ultra Thread, 140 denier, fluorescent orange. Color doesn't really matter again. Start it right behind that wire there. And I like to build up a little tapered thread dam to keep the wire from scooting back. So we're just locking everything in place right here. Little cone there. And once we get that cone there, we're gonna go over the wire a little bit. Just make it nice and secure. Okay, you can trim your thread off there. And we're gonna take it to the bend of the hook. And for the tail, we're going to use some white marabou. Just like that. We're going to strip some of this off the stem of the feather. Oop, or just rip it apart, I guess. I'm super strong, as you can tell. And what we're going to do, get a hold of it. And we're going to use the shank of the hook to measure the marabou. So we want the feather to be about from the end of the, or from the start of the bend to the end of the hook eye there. So that long. You'll take that, you'll move it down to the end here where our thread is hanging and just tie her in. 1, 2. And I like to wrap up the shank a little bit, trim off our ends here. And why I don't wrap it in and cut off there is because you'll get a bump eventually if you tie enough materials in. But if you wrap them up the shank like this, if you lay them down the shank and tie them in, it gives you a nice even hook body to work with. So you don't get these weird lumpy spots on your fly. And now I'm going to put in some flash. I like to use this UV purple, I think it's UV purple crystal flash. Again, whatever you want on your happy little fly. Channeling my inner Bob Ross here. And we'll grab 2 strands of this crystal flash. You line them up. What we're going to do here, we're going to line these up and put them on the side of the hook closest to you. And take 2 wraps. It's probably plenty. We're going to take this long tag end here. There's a reason we didn't trim it off. We're going to take that, we're going to flip it over and tie it down. And there you go. Now you have flash on both sides of your hook from just 2 pieces of crystal flash. You tie them down, hold them, and tie them down back to your tail here. Now all you do is just trim them off even. There you go. That way you don't have to deal with cutting crystal flash as much. It really saves time when you're doing a bunch of flies all at once. Now for the body, we're going to use white chenille. And we're going to cut a section off of the card here. And we're going to put it on top of the hook shank. Don't put it all the way up here because we're going to have to be tying stuff off, but leave a little gap there and tie it down. And again, we're leaving it long so we don't get a weird bump if we just tied in the cut end at the butt of the fly. So give her a couple more securing wraps. Now, if we were tying a woolly bugger, we'd be adding a hackle and some ribbing down here. But since this is a super beginner fly, it's going to be just the chenille for the body. We're going to take this and we're going to wrap it in nice touching wraps, is what they're called. We're going to wrap it forward to just behind the cone head there. So, da-da-da. There we go. That's probably good there, right? Yeah. Now we're going to wrap our thread over that. Nice and tight. A few, let's do 3 or 4 securing wraps here. And trim off your chenille. Now, if you can't get it super close, and you leave a little nub in there of chenille, you can just take your scissors or your thumbnail or something and just tuck her right in under the cone head there. Okay, and give her a couple more wraps. And we're going to whip finish. You can finish your fly however you're comfortable. I like to use this whip finisher because it's super slick. But if you don't have one, you can just use your fingers and do some half hitches, or whatever these are called. Oh, but be careful that your fingers aren't rough like mine, because you might cut your thread. Okay, and that's it. And I trim your thread, and that is a super simple streamer. And it catches fish. Like, you don't have to be using the sex dungeons and all those crazy articulated things to catch fish. They do catch fish. They catch fish like crazy, but they're time consuming, and I lose a lot of flies. So something I can tie up in 5 minutes is much nicer to lose than something that takes me half an hour or 45 minutes to tie. But super simple. It'll catch anything that eats fish pretty much, and you can size it up, size it down, change your colors, whatever you want. Yeah, so go tie a dozen of these, take them out to your trout pond or bass pond or stream or whatever, and let me know if you catch any fish. I'll post the materials list at the end here just a second. Yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.